Hey there, and welcome. Today, we're diving into something pretty radical, an alternative to the traditional MBA. We're talking about a framework for real-world business success that you are definitely not going to find in a lecture hall. So let's get right into it.
And we're going to start with a pretty provocative question. Is that super expensive six-figure degree actually obsolete? I mean, in a world that changes this fast, you really have to wonder if the old, trusted path to success still makes any sense.
You know, for decades, getting an MBA was seen as the golden ticket, the guaranteed path to the top. But when you look a little closer, you start to see some serious cracks in that promise. Let's break down exactly why these big traditional programs can fall flat when it really counts.
This right here, this is the heart of the problem for so many graduates. On one hand, you want agility, right? The freedom to build something new, to innovate, to pivot when you need to. But on the other hand, you've got this mountain of debt pushing you toward the safest, highest-paying corporate job you can find just to make the payments. That debt literally becomes a ball and chain, killing your entrepreneurial spirit before you even get started.
And it's not just the debt. There are some other major failures here. A lot of these programs are still teaching outdated theories like scientific management. This old idea of treating people like interchangeable parts in a machine to squeeze out more efficiency. It completely ignores the fact that businesses are run by creative, complex human beings. But honestly, the biggest shocker? It's what the data says about the results.
So, what does the actual data say about an MBA's impact on your long-term success? Well, when you account for all the other factors, the correlation is zero. Yep, a big, fat zero. Statistically speaking, there is no link between having that fancy degree and having a more successful career or a higher salary down the road. It's a pretty stunning find, isn't it?
Okay, so if the traditional model is broken, what's the alternative? Well, this brings us to a much more powerful, much more practical approach, building what's called a latticework of mental models. It is a completely different way of thinking about business mastery.
So what even is a mental model? Well, think of it less like a specific technique or method, which can go out of style overnight, and more like a deep, fundamental principle. It's an understanding of how things actually work in the real world. Mastering these core concepts is so much more valuable than just memorizing a bunch of formulas you're never going to use. And listen, this isn't some new agey idea I just cooked up. This is inspired by the legendary Charlie Munger, Warren Buffett's longtime business partner. He's the one who argues that real wisdom comes from building this latticework of models from all different fields, psychology, economics, biology, because that's how you learn to see the world and business clearly.
So where do we even begin building this latticework? Well, the very first step is understanding a simple truth. Every single business, I don't care what industry it's in, is built on 5 universal parts.
These are the 5 core jobs of any business. It all starts with value creation. You got to make something people actually want. Then you need marketing to grab their attention, and sales to turn that attention into a transaction. After that, you've got value delivery, making sure they get what they paid for and are happy. And finally, finance, making sure the whole thing brings in enough cash to be worthwhile. If even one of these is broken, your whole business is like a leaky bucket. True competence isn't about theory, it's about mastering these 5 things.
All right, so once you've got a handle on those 5 parts, the next layer of our latticework is all about learning to see the world through 2 incredibly important lenses: understanding how people actually behave and understanding how systems really work.
At the end of the day, every business serves people. So understanding human psychology, it's totally not negotiable. The most successful products and services always tap into at least one of these 5 core human drives. We're all hardwired to acquire things, to bond with others, to learn, to defend what we have, and to feel important emotions. Your business has to connect with these basic needs if you want it to succeed.
What's great about this framework is that it's grounded in reality. It accepts that we aren't robots. For instance, it recognizes that multitasking isn't a superpower. It comes with a huge cognitive cost. And it knows that our willpower isn't finite. It's like a battery that runs down every day. Understanding these very human limitations is absolutely critical for building processes that actually work for you and your team.
Now, let's talk about that second lens, systems thinking. Gall's Law is such a brilliant mental model to have in your toolkit. Basically, it says this: stop trying to design and build some massive, perfect, complex system from scratch. It's almost guaranteed to fail. Instead, start with a simple system that actually works, and then, and only then, improve it and build upon it over time.
This all leads to a really fundamental shift in philosophy. Traditional business school often worships at the altar of optimization. squeezing every last drop of efficiency out of a system. But the problem is, hyper-optimized systems are incredibly fragile. One little thing goes wrong and the whole thing can collapse. The latticework approach, on the other hand, prioritizes resilience. It's about building a robust business, one with cash in the bank and low debt, that can survive and even thrive when the unexpected inevitably happens.
Okay, let's pull all these threads together. What we've built here isn't just a random collection of cool ideas. It's a cohesive, practical toolkit for building real, sustainable success out in the messy real world.
This chart really lays it all out, doesn't it? It shows the choice you have. Do you want a foundation of temporary methods that might be outdated next year, or timeless principles that will always be true? Are you focused on optimizing for a perfect world that doesn't exist, or building resilience for the world we actually live in? It's a choice between seeing people as human resources and truly understanding human psychology. And maybe most importantly, it's the choice between crippling debt and the incredible freedom that comes with self-education.
When you boil it all down, the big takeaway is this. Real, lasting success isn't about the piece of paper you hang on your wall. It's about the intellectual toolkit you build inside your head, one mental model at a time. And that is such an empowering idea because it puts all the power right back in your hands.
So that really just leaves us with one final, crucial question. If real business mastery is built one model at a time, what's the very first one you're gonna build?